Stop sabotaging yourself. Stop living a life that you don't even like. Here's the truth. You don't control your thoughts. Your thoughts control you. And your thoughts create your reality. Yo, 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 this is Ace Anderson Live. Let's get it. Yo, 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 what's going on? Good day to all you brilliant, beautiful, abundantly blessed beings. Welcome back to yet another present moment. This is Ace Anderson Live, where we connect every single Monday morning to provide you with weekly inspirational and entrepreneurial tips and tricks to help you ace your life. So congratulate yourself for making it to yet another beautiful day with your boy, Ace, the modern Renaissance man, filmmaker, ace of all trades, Ace Anderson, and I'm so happy to be here with you all for another blessed, abundant week. As we embrace this day together, I want to extend a special shout out to all you early risers joining in live. Your dedication to starting the week with intention and positivity is what makes the A-Team extraordinary. So I want you to grab your favorite morning brew. You know, my drink of choice is alkaline water, and let's explore, illuminate, and inspire ourselves to be better with mindful conversation. Now, today, we're talking about the invisible architects of your reality. They exist in the fifth dimension, your beliefs. Now, a belief isn't magic. A belief is actually very simple. A belief is only a thought that you continue to think. That's it. That's what a belief is. A belief is a thought that you continue to think. And if your thoughts are running the show, shouldn't we at least hire better ones? So, as we embark on this week's adventure, let's remember to align our hearts with the fruit of the Spirit, that is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let us trust these divine nine to guide us on the path to living a life that resonates deeply with our most authentic desires. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, when I was back in high school, I believed that I was terrible at public speaking. Why? Because, partly because I'm dyslexic and I had trouble reading out loud. And one time I stumbled over a word in front of the whole class, and a kid in the back laughed so hard that he fell out of his chair. Now, I was devastated, but it turns out he wasn't even laughing at me at all. He just slipped on a pencil. But, you know, that one moment had convinced me that I was doomed for life. And beliefs are wild like that, right? So being an actor was sort of my way of challenging myself and becoming, trying my best to become better. And I don't think I ever really recognized that I was public speaking, or I was conquering my fear of public speaking, until later. I didn't realize I had conquered my fear. And even now, like, my wife tells me, you know, sometimes when she's watching my live stream, she's like, oh, you're much better at reading and much better at communicating your ideas and your thoughts. And that's truly just a product of practice. But it all starts from your belief system. So if you believe you can, or you believe you can't, you're right. Right? And so a belief is nothing more than a thought that you continue to think over and over and over again. That's it, right? It's not written in stone. It's scribbled in a dry erase marker, actually, right? It's just a thought that you're continuing to think. So whatever your beliefs, like, we want to make sure that we're getting a grip on our belief system, because there aren't anything there are no laws of the universe, but these five, I think it's five or four or five laws. I'm going to look them up and make sure to tell you them before the end of this video. But I know that much of what you believe are not written in stone. These are just thoughts that you've been continuing to think. And if they've been thought enough over time, right, they've been passed down from generation to generation because you're learning a certain way to think from your parents or from your society or from your friends and your schooling and your work, right? You start to think a certain way and you come to recognize that as a belief. But just because you believe it does not mean it's true. And there is so much of what we believe that actually is not true at all. And so I want to break that down a little bit and break down a little bit how we can overcome that or how we can be deliberate thinkers, right? So our thoughts are what create our reality. And where attention goes, energy flows. Cannon in me, what up? So, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's Proverbs 23:7, right? As a man thinketh, so is he. I think, therefore I am, is what Descartes says. But if your thoughts are garbage, then what are you, right? Are you garbage? Like you have to really be thinking deliberately. We have to put ourselves in a space where the thoughts that we're thinking are putting us in a positive space, because it all starts from there. And here's the thing. I read this incredible book called Don't Believe Everything That You Think. And it was really fascinating. Actually, the whole thing is available on YouTube. So if you look it up, you can check out, look up Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Nguyen. And it is really an amazing read, because what it does is it breaks down how the root of all suffering is our thinking. Now, I want to be really clear that thinking is different from thought. Thoughts might pop in your head all the time. Thoughts pop in your head every single day. Millions and millions of thoughts. But what tends to happen is that we then activate those thoughts by thinking. So thinking is an action. Thinking is an active thing that we're doing. Thought is something that we're downloading from source. So thoughts just come to us. But when we're thinking, we put ourselves in a sort of rigid, contrasting state, because we're analyzing, we can overanalyze every single thought that comes into play. And a thought, when it comes to you, is not positive or negative, right? It is your thinking about the thought that adds the layer of positive or negative. If you think it's a good thought, or if you think it's a negative thought, that adds a layer. And then if you think about that thought for 16 seconds, right? Studies show that another thought will attach to it. Another thought like it, of similar energy and frequency, will attach to it. And then that compounds, right? That thought process compounds. So when you meditate, you get into a state of just receiving thought. But a lot of times when we're in our active day-to-day, we start thinking and we start overthinking, and we put ourselves in a place where we judge incorrectly every single thought that is coming into our brain. And then we create a circumstance where we're not able to function, or where we see everything as bad, and we're reminded of all the negative, and then we process that for 16 seconds or more, and then it becomes a double thought, and then it becomes a quadruple thought, right? And then it just continues to exponentially compound into more and more negative thoughts. But the same thing happens with positive thoughts as well. So you want to be very sure that you're being a deliberate thinker, right? You want to think clearly, and we'll talk a little bit about uh, how to think in such a way, or how to process thoughts in such a way that create the reality of your dreams. So, the brain's neuroplasticity shows that repeated thoughts create neural pathways, right? So, the more that you think something, the more you believe it. Um, the so thoughts are in some way like the real puppet masters in your life, right? Your thoughts don't ask for permission to run wild, right? They just do. But here's the twist. You're not your thoughts. You're the one watching the thoughts. And a lot of people start to feel like they are their thoughts, and then they judge themselves based off the thoughts that they're having. But you're not your thoughts. Right? The thoughts just occur. Thoughts exist in another realm, and for some reason, the brain has an ability to connect to the frequency of thought, and we can observe thoughts as they come through our brains. So it's very, very interesting. So you're not actually your thoughts; you're just watching your thoughts occur. Um, so. Um, And then Joseph Wynn, when Joseph Wynn talks about in the book, I was saying, don't believe everything you think. He says, joy and love are your default settings, and suffering is just an app that we keep opening, right? Essentially. So we just continually look at this thing that is causing us negative emotion, because your thoughts create your emotion, and then your emotions become your if your emotional state eventually turns into a mood, and after that, if it's a mood for a while, it becomes a temperament, and if it's a temperament for a while, those emotions become a personality, and then your personality becomes your personal reality, right? So it starts from your thoughts, then you analyze them by thinking, and then when you start thinking, you begin to feel a certain emotion, and then that emotional state becomes a mood that you find yourself in, and then you stay in that mood. Then when you're in that mood for long enough, it becomes a temperament. So it's like, I have this temperament, right? That you stay in that long enough, that temperament becomes a personality trait. And that personality trait, if you stay with that long enough, it becomes your personal reality. So you are truly generating your reality just from the thoughts that you're thinking. So if you're thinking negative things, you're going to create a negative reality. And it is proven every single day. If you don't believe me, just watch what you think about. And look at the life that you have. You become addicted to this thought pattern, and you get into this space and you experience the same things because you're doing the same things. You have to become the observer. You have to recognize you are the observer of your life. Stop opening the suffering app. Check yourself, watch yourself, right? Because you get stuck into a habit of doing something that doesn't yield positive results. So you're in that habit, you're stuck in a program, and a habit is this. A habit is simple. A habit is something that you are doing that you do not know that you're doing. That's the definition of a habit. A habit is something that you're doing that you don't know and realize that you're doing. So the answer to that then is to acknowledge and become aware of the thing that you're doing. Because when people say, oh yeah, just do that, it's just a habit, and they kind of like let it go. But it's like, it's not a habit if you know that you're doing it. It's a choice. If you know that you're doing it and you don't want to do it, you actually do want to do it because you've convinced yourself, you believe that for whatever reason, doing that thing is better than not doing this thing. Or if you're lazy, not doing the thing is better than doing the thing. So there's a benefit either way. So if you keep opening the suffering app, if you keep finding yourself in suffering, you keep going to that app. You keep going to that Instagram. You keep going to that Facebook. You keep going to that negative comment. You keep getting triggered by all the negative comments because that's what you're looking at. So all you're seeing is negative comments. And you're going to see more and more and more of that because where attention goes, energy flows. And you're just going to compound that. And then that's going to make you feel a certain way. And then because you're thinking the same thoughts, then you're going to feel that certain way. You're going to feel in that mood. You're going to have that mood. And then that mood is going to become your temperament. That temperament is going to become your personality. Or then that personality is going to become your personal reality. And then you're like, look, it's true. It's true. This thing is true. Look, people hate me. People don't like me. This thing is true. It's true. This is reality. This is reality. Not recognizing that you are the architect of that reality. You ever notice how one bad thought can just ruin your day? But one good thought takes hours to even register? Because negativity is like a Twitter algorithm. It spreads a lot faster than it should. Because a lot of times we become more susceptible. We've trained ourselves to be more susceptible and more aware of negative emotion. Because you could be having a positive day and then you have one negative thing and it just destroys the whole experience of the positive day. Because we have evolved to become much more aware to negative emotions, to negative experiences, because we don't want those to occur. So we end up becoming hyper fixated on negative experiences, so much so that we don't realize that we're creating more negative experiences because there is no law of exclusion. There is only law of attraction. Where attention goes, energy flows. You're thinking about something negative, you're focused on something negative, the universe is going to show you more of that. So the best thing that you can do for yourself is get off of that negative train quickly. Quickly. Get off of that negative train. Think about anything that will bring you some positivity. Think about anything. And it's going to be challenging. But that's the best thing that you can do. It's the best thing that you could do. That's why I always talk about the fruit of the Spirit. So there are many times where I might find myself in a negative state or thinking about negative things. And I think about the verse in the Bible that talks about the fruit of the Spirit. I personally think that the fruit of the Spirit, this verse is the most important verse in the entire Christian ethos, is love. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against these things, there can be no law. So that means if there's no law against these things, this fruit of the Spirit, we all have the fruit of the Spirit within us, then we are always able to access love and joy and peace. We're always able to access positive vibration, no matter what. We always have access to the divine within us by aligning ourselves with joy, and love and peace and patience and kindness. I have that at my disposal at any given point because I get to choose the thoughts that I think. I get to choose. I want to think some other thoughts. I don't want to activate these other thoughts. I only want to activate positive thoughts. And there's no way to not to like deactivate a negative thought. The best way to deactivate a negative thought is by thinking a positive thought. Focus on a positive thought, a positive vibration. And if you can't do that, then what you do, you just stop thinking. And the best way to stop thinking is meditation. When you meditate, you quiet your mind. You go to a state where you are able to now focus on nothing. Focus on a sound of the air condition. Focus on the sound of the humming train passing by. Focus on the sound of traffic. Focus on the sound of the birds outside. Focus on whatever thing that can pull you away from your immediate circumstances, your immediate thoughts of your reality of what's happening. Just focus on something that will put your mind in a neutral state, because the sound of the air condition isn't good or bad. It's just the sound of the air condition. So you can focus on that for a little bit. Listen for the click that it always does every 30 seconds. Focus on your breath. This is one thing I'm learning to do. Focus on your breath. Because I realize a lot of times I'm not really aware of how little I'm breathing. Like I do these short breaths, but if I really focus on it, I just drop in. When I really can just focus on my breath. And allow the space for positive thoughts to arrive. Or thoughts that I can have that I can put a positive spin on. Every single belief creates tension, right? The gap between what you think is true and what could be true. The bigger the gap, the harder life feels. So every time you believe something, somebody said the box breathing method is good. I'm not familiar with that, but perhaps you could share a little bit about it in the comments. Every single belief that you have creates tension, right? So you have this gap between what you think is true and what could be true. Because you've believed this thing. I believe this. I believe this. I believe it. I believe it. And to believe it means you just practiced thinking that thought. And so you are blissfully unaware of what could be true if you were to allow yourself to think differently about the situation. And the bigger that gap is between what you think is and what could be true and where your inner being is, the harder life feels. It feels like it's impossible to get through, to get past. The Bible says, be transformed by renewing your mind. That's Romans 12:2. Be transformed by renewing your mind. What does that mean? Translation: quiet your mind and let go of the negative feedback loop that is a product of your deliberate thinking about things that you do not want. You have to stop thinking about things that you do not want and start thinking about everything in your life that you do want. Every time something in your life happens that you do not want, it births a new desire for something that you do want. So now your goal is to now focus so clearly on what you do want. And focus on it so much that it brings you so much joy in this moment, even though it has not physically manifested, because you know that it will manifest. Nothing can bring me down because I know everything that I desire is showing up for me. I know. It's like going to the gym, right? And your mind is that one dude who says he's lifting 300 pounds, but you can see he's only pressing the bar, right? It's time to level up. It's a muscle. You got to really, really push that thing. I used to believe that I was unworthy of love. I used to believe I was unworthy of love. I used to believe that I was unattractive. I used to believe that I didn't have game. That I didn't know how to get girls. And I had to think differently, because all I was doing was perpetuating that belief in my reality. And then it becomes a negative feedback loop, because now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the rejection. I'm seeing how women are treating me. And then it adds to my belief that I don't have game. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to talk to girls. I don't know how to blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I used to think that I was ugly. I used to think I was unattractive. Truly. I mean, and that's crazy, because look at me. You know what I'm saying? But no, I really did. I really could not see that how much I had to offer. So I want you to do a little thought audit to find out, if your thoughts are negative or not. Every night, I want you to write down 3 recurring thoughts that you had during the day. Every single night, write down 3 recurring thoughts that you had during the day. Next to each one, you're going to label it as empowering or limiting. Is this empowering or limiting? And then ask yourself, is this thought paying rent? Because if not, evict it. Get the out. We don't need you around these parts. Thought, let go of it. Think positive thoughts. So if any of you follow Joe Dispenza, an amazing neuropsychologist, found that 90% of the thoughts that we think on a given day are thoughts that we had the previous day. 90% of the thoughts that we have on a given day are the same as the thoughts we had the day before. And we wonder why our lives are so slow to change. Because you're not changing. Your mind is not changing. And your thoughts are what creates your reality. So if your thoughts are creating your reality, isn't it crazy to think, is it so crazy to think that I keep thinking these same thoughts and I'm doing this to myself? I keep putting myself in this situation because for whatever reason, there is a payoff. There is a payoff to thinking these thoughts. For every negative belief, create a counter belief. Here's an example. If you're going to say, for instance, a belief that I have is I'm bad at saving money. I also want you to check that when you say stuff, oh, I suck at this, I'm bad at this, right? Anytime you say anything negative about yourself, be real keen. And then you can get a friend to help you do this as well. Just help you to acknowledge anytime you say anything negative about yourself. Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm dumb. I'm bad with money. I'm bad with money becomes I'm learning to save smarter every day. And you could keep it simple, right? No Shakespearean monologues needed. I'm learning to save smarter every day. I'm bad at saving. I'm learning to save smarter every day. Every single day, I'm learning to save smarter. Every single day, I'm better. So we want to create a counter belief. We want to create a counter thought and then continue to think that thought. Write it down. Write it with, if you're right-handed, write it with your left hand every single morning. Because you're shifting the paradigm. You're allowing yourself to remember it more, being more deliberate about that thought. Something that I like to repeat to myself is that all the money that I use, give, or circulate in any way comes back to me in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment. I see God multiplying all of the money that I give, use, or circulate in any way, circling back to me in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment. One more time for the people in the back. I see God multiplying back to me all of the money that I use, give, or circulate in any way in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment. And if you can write that down, that can become a belief. Because a belief is just a thought that you continue to think. So keep thinking that thought. And that belief will create your reality. You are what you believe. Here's another hack. I want you to close your eyes and imagine your ideal life. Really see it. Really see it. Your ideal life. And then the hack, visualize how you operate in that ideal life. And then begin acting like that now. If you believe you're a CEO, why are you still typing emails like an intern? Start behaving like that future version of yourself today. Another thing that I've been doing is I love ChatGPT. I've been using ChatGPT to help me visualize and create my dream life. So I'll tell it a list of goals and then I'll say, take all this list of goals, like the biggest goals that I have, just write a list. It'll be like 50, 60, maybe 100 goals of things that I want to accomplish. And I say, take this and write a story about my life based on this list of goals. Write a story for my future life. And when you're able to do that, you take that future life, and I take that story and I put that back into ChatGPT, and I say, come up with 10 to 15 prompts that I can use for a text to image generator. And then it'll come up with the prompts. And then I take that prompt and then I put it either into ChatGPT or another app that I use called Lexica, and I say, here you go, I give it the prompt. And then it has created several different images of my future life. So I'm going to show you some of those right now. Let me see if I can just easily pull it up. Right, so here's a new age creative hub that I hope to develop, right? So you can kind of see the this creative hub, which is kind of cool, right? So that's a hub. This is a glamorous pool party. Oops, why did this go up? This beautiful, glamorous pool party with beautiful ladies. Check that out. Right? So this is a great way to create a vision board. So I'm using AI to make my future vision board of like a dope rooftop party. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to that in Miami? Beautiful sunset. I mean, come on. Right? So these are just some ways to be able to visualize and see your dream life, right? To start putting yourself in a place where you're thinking thoughts that will create the reality you want. So you become a deliberate creator of your reality, right? That's what we're trying to do here. So I want to ask you guys, what's one belief about yourself that you'd love to change? You could type it in the comments and all of that. And, we can rewrite that together. So write, what is one belief about yourself or one thought, one belief about yourself that you'd love to change. And the other question is, what's one thought that's been running your life without permission? And we'll help you to rewrite that and flip that thought so we can have different thoughts. But in the meantime, I just want to discuss, the deal is your beliefs are the architects of your reality, right? And you don't have to let them design a house that you hate living in, right? Like, don't do that. Don't become addicted to a life that you don't even like. Start thinking different thoughts. Every thought you think is a brick in the foundation of your future. So the core takeaway here is that you are not your thoughts, but your thoughts are your power. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are your superpower. Use them wisely. So this week I challenge you to evict just one limiting belief and replace it with something that serves you. And comment below which belief you're kicking out. And just like that, we are wrapping up another fantastic session here on Ace Anderson Live. Big love and thanks to each and every one of you who joined us live. Your energy and insights light up this community and push us all to level up in every way possible. Now, don't forget, we are here every single Monday bringing that heat to start your week off right. If today's conversation got you fired up, inspired, or just curious to learn more, drop a comment, share this stream, and tell a friend, because word of mouth is the best influencer. Keep Ace Boogie in your thoughts and prayers, and I promise to do the same. Also, follow me on all social media platforms at Ace Shot That. Remember, we're on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok, and Snapchat. So come follow your boy, and let's keep the A-Team growing strong. Until next time, y'all, remember to always align yourself with truth, trust, and patience, and I promise you will ace your life. Peace out, y'all.